Welcome in the most electric podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here is not Grant Mitchell. We are solo today, and we're still getting the picks because the people don't want the picks. The people need the picks, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man of the people in the room. How you doing? Welcome in to a Wednesday edition of Ride the Line. We are giving you guys all the baseball picks that you need to know. I'm going to give you my favorite 3 plays for the day games, and then we will have more and more on WSN.com. So make sure you go over there and check it out. And also smash the subscribe button, people. If you're not subscribed to Ride the Line, we're giving you plays every Monday, Wednesday, and then an NFL show on Fridays. We might start adding baseball plays in there as well. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing, people? It's not rocket science, never been rocket science. Smash the subscribe button right now. You just got to click a damn button. It's not that hard. But anyways, today we have a lot of baseball games, a lot of day baseball game starts. I like 3 of them. I like a lot of games overall. So also follow me on my personal socials at TannerKern_ on Twitter and then at TannerKern on TikTok. You might find a few more plays on there as well. And all that stuff is linked down in the description below. So smash the subscribe button and let's get into it. The first thing we need to discuss, though, is a little bit of last night's game. Rangers, White Sox, this travesty of a call. There was obstruction called on Jonah Heim as the catcher, which allowed Elvis Andrus to score last night. This was the biggest joke I've ever seen in baseball. He had his freaking toe on the corner of the plate, and they called obstruction. And the Rangers deserve to lose the game. Don't get me wrong. They blew multiple leads last night. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at this call last night, it was sad for baseball. Should have never happened. They called obstruction. Bunch of absolute bullcrap. But anyways, guess we get by it. I had Rangers money line last night, so sadly, that one came back to hurt me. But the Rangers were never in that game as it is. So on the show so far, I am 5-3 with the picks. We started this new format, 5-3, and we're going to keep it going today. So let's get into it. We're starting with the first pick of the day. Now, I don't mind the Nerfy in all these games as well. Just throw that out there. If you guys want a little extra love, a little extra plays here, maybe take a Nerfy in all these. Go for it. But first game of the day, 12-10 start. I like the Blue Jays to get the job done. You can get Toronto on the money line for -135 in this spot. Coming off a 2-0 win yesterday. They're really looking good. Surprisingly, I was going through the numbers this morning. The Miami Marlins are 22-14 at home, and that's just something that I would have never expected out of this Marlins team, right? They are delivering in all aspects of the game, and I know they're getting a lot of press because of Luis Ariz, but other than that, you haven't heard as much about the Marlins, and they're still a 42-32 club. They're looking really good this season. So I don't want to take anything for granted in this spot. When you look at the Blue Jays, they're not that good, quite frankly, in my opinion. At least 40-35, 21-22 on the road. Have not been getting the job done in every aspect of the game. Some nights they show up, other nights they just simply fall apart. But today is a day that they get the job done here. So we do like the Nerfy here. I would take a Nerfy, but that's not my official play for this game. I'm just going to be on the Blue Jays money line at -135. The first game of the series did not go in favor of Toronto. They were beat 11-0, but they bounced back yesterday with a vengeance, winning 2-0. And I think we're going to see another tight game today. These are the kind of pitchers that yield slow scoring games. Kevin Gausman on the mound for the Blue Jays, 6-3, 3 ERA with a 1.13 whip, 92 innings, 121 strikeouts. That's something to look at. He can get himself out of trouble very easily because of that. And he doesn't give up home runs either. 9 home runs allowed this season in 92 innings. So less than 1 per 9, which we absolutely love. Sandy Alcantara has been one of the stories of the season this year for the Marlins. He has not been the Sandy Alcantara that we saw last year. He simply hasn't been as good as we would think. 2-5 with a 4.97 ERA and a 1.22 whip. The problem with Alcantara is he's really been hurt by the shift not being in place this season. He was one of the biggest pitchers when it came to ground balls to the right side. Those ground balls to the right side are now base hits because you don't have the shift. And he's also really struggled like the third time through the order. That's been a problem for Alcantara this season. So 2-5, 4.97, as I said, 1.2 whip, 88 innings on the bump, 81 hits allowed, 72 strikeouts. So the elite strikeout ability is not there for Alcantara. And that's another reason to lean towards the Blue Jays here. I don't see Alcantara going more than a couple times through the lineup today, because when he goes for the third time through, that's when he really starts to get hurt. Also been good keeping the ball in the yard, 8 home runs allowed in 88 innings, but I just lean toward Gausman in this spot. look at some of the key hitters in this game. Bo Bichette, obviously one of them for the Blue Jays, 14 homers, 317 average, 46 RBIs. The Blue Jays got a lot of guys that are hitting the baseball. Matt Chapman was the story of the season early in the year. Bo Bichette's kind of taken over the duties on the team as the star hitter. You got Vlad Guerrero Jr. For the Marlins, you got Jorge Soler, you got Luis Arraez. Arraez is stealing the show. He's batting about 400, which is amazing at this point in the season. He could set some records this year. I mean, another 5-hit game. Like he's setting the record for 5-hit games. He's just getting the job done consistently, and that's been fun to watch from Arraez for a guy that, doesn't necessarily win with power. He wins by spraying the ball over the field, and it's worked this season. When it comes to the offensive numbers, the one area where the Blue Jays have the biggest advantage is in their home runs, 83 homers compared to 69 for the Marlins. But other than that, both teams are pretty even across the board. They both got about the same OBPs, about the same averages. The Blue Jays have scored 32 more runs this season. That's just because when you look at the power game, it does favor the Blue Jays. And the Marlins have been pretty hot. I know they lost yesterday, but they are 4-1 in their past 5 games. So just keep that in mind when betting this one. I think for the price, it's very favorable to take the Toronto Blue Jays at -135. Depending on the book you're getting, you probably find it at -130. But get this in early. I do think it's going to climb up just because of how good Gosman's been. This is a public play, being the Blue Jays against the Marlins. The Marlins are a good team. I'm just not taking them in this spot here. I think Alcantara has been very unreliable, so I will lean towards Toronto. Okay, pick number 2. Before we get into that, remember to subscribe. If you like what we're talking about here, smash the subscribe button. It's not rocket science. It's never been rocket science. And this is a very fun game to look at today. We have the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. Game 1 of this series, the Diamondbacks were up 1-9-1. They jumped out to a massive lead. Yesterday, they jumped out to a massive lead, and they found a way to blow it. They were up 4-1 in the second inning, and then they were up, 5-3 in the 6th, and then they gave up a 4 spot in the 7th and lost the game. So that's been Diamondbacks baseball over the years. But this is a different Diamondbacks team. We've seen that. They're 44-30, 21-12 on the road. They're very good, and they have their guy going today in Zach Gallen, one of the best pitchers in baseball, Zach Gallen. Coming off a very good start, 7 innings, 6 hits allowed, 1 earned run against the Cleveland Guardians, 5-1 win. He's beaten up on bad teams as of late. He's gotten lit up by one of his starts, actually, by the Detroit Tigers. But overall, he's been very good in his past 5 games. 8-2 with a 2.96 ERA, 1.13 WHIP, 91 innings on the bump, 84 hits with 100 strikeouts. He has been delivering in all aspects of the game for the Arizona Diamondbacks this season. When you go to the other side, you look at Julio Teheran, a little different style pitcher. He wins with location more than Gallen. Gallen wins by power. He can also locate, don't get me wrong, but when he wants to gas it up, he can do that. Teheran's 32 years old. He doesn't have that ability anymore. But in his time on the bump this season for the Brew Crew, he's been very good. 2-2, 1.78 ERA, 0.82 WHIP, 30 innings on the bump, 21 hits allowed. So the innings aren't necessarily there, but when he is on the mound, he's been very favorable. And this Brewers bullpen can deliver today. 20 strikeouts for him over that time, too. Doesn't have the elite strikeout ability, but locates, keeps the ball in the yard. 4 walks allowed in 30 innings, 3 home runs. He's been doing everything right, and the Diamondbacks have been winning with the long ball this season. So it's going to be a tough matchup for them. I think it's going to take them a while to get to Teheran. You might want to look at a first half under in this game, but I'm just simply going to play Diamondbacks money line -145. I like them in the bounce back spot. Corbin Carroll, Christian Walker leading the offense for the Diamondbacks. Rowdy Tellez, Christian Yelich, Brian Anderson leading the offense for the Brew Crew. When we look at the offensive numbers here, Arizona is much better than Milwaukee. Milwaukee's not that good of an offensive team. We've seen that consistently. They have been winning games. They beat up on the Pirates, and then they took one against the Diamondbacks in the series, so they're 4-1 their past 5 games. But when we look at the Diamondbacks, 264 batting average compared to the Brewers at 228. The OBP is 330 in favor of the Diamondbacks compared to 305 for the Brewers. And again, they're slugging about 70 points higher, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Pitching wise, it does favor the Milwaukee Brewers, the matchup. But overall, when you look at the starters in this game, I would definitely lean towards Zach Gallen. The Diamondbacks need to get a lead. They need to find a way to get to Teheran. If they can do that, they're going to be just fine in this spot. So going to take them here. Arizona's also 16-12 in day games. Another little fun fact to look at for a 210 start. And then finally here, we got one more game on the slate to discuss. We got the Cubs and the Pirates. But again, we've given 2 picks on here. I'm 5-3. Grant's crushing as well. Guys, make sure you subscribe. You just have to click a button. It's not rocket science. Click the button, get on here, and let's get into the final pick of the day. And that final pick of the day is going to be the Cubs on the money line at -115 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates are not a good team right now. They were really good, and they've fallen off the map. 34-38, 18-18 at home, haven't been able to win. And I'm not saying the Cubs can win on the road because they're very inconsistent. They're 15-21, 35-38 overall, but I like them here. And the reason for this is how cold the Pittsburgh Pirates have been. So the Cubs have played the Pirates in 5 of their past 8 games. The Cubs have beaten the Pirates in 5 of their past 8 games. Pittsburgh Pirates also had another series against the Brewers. They lost 3 there too. So they're 0-8 in their past 8 games. That's something to keep in mind. They've been shut out in 3 of their past 4 games. So the offense isn't clicking. I mean, when you look at their offensive numbers, Brian Reynolds has been crushing it. He's batting .279, but he's their leader in batting average. Like, they have nobody approaching that 300 mark. He's got 350 OBP, doing a lot of good things. Jack Sawinski, 15 home runs, 228 average, right? But this team doesn't have the bat that can drive guys in consistently. They don't have the best pitching in the world. They have a really good bullpen today, and they have a lot of guys available. But I do like the Cubs here just because the offense, slight favor over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Kyle Hendricks on the mound. Kyle Hendricks, like, this is a different Kyle Hendricks this season. I know he's only thrown 28 innings, but usually he's like a 4 ERA guy, 4.5. Like, you always fade Kyle Hendricks on the road. I'm not fading Kyle Hendricks on the road in this spot because when you look at him, he's actually been better on the road. 1.93 ERA on the road in 14 innings, 3.77 at home in 14 innings. So, over the 28 innings he's pitched, he's been fantastic in both spots, but even better on the road, which makes this game a little more favorable for me as a bettor. And then also when we look at Rich Hill going for the Pirates, 6-6, 4.31 ERA, 1.4 WHIP, 77 innings, 79 hits allowed, has not been that good overall. For an old guy, he has been, I'll say that, but just really hasn't delivered consistently enough for me to bet on the Pirates today when they're 0-8 in their past 8 games. Offensively, the game favors the Cubs as well. 81 homers for the Cubs. They've scored 30 more runs this season. Their OBP is a little higher, batting average is a little higher. And then the pitching staff's also been better too. When you look at the combined ERA for all the pitchers, Chicago's got a 3.99 ERA compared to the Pittsburgh Pirates with a 4.34. The WHIP is also in favor of Chicago. Don't have as much strikeouts, but the opposing team is hitting less off them, 242 compared to the Pittsburgh Pirates at 253. So there's a lot of signs indicating that the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to be 0-9 in their past 9 games today. For a fair price at -115, I'll take it. The winning streak's got to come to, or the losing streak, I should say, has got to come to an end at some point here. But I'm going to be all over the Cubbies in this spot, even though they're 15-21 on the road. Big win last night. Big win in the first game of this series. They have outscored the Pittsburgh Pirates 12-0. I think they can keep that momentum going, and we'll see what happens. So if you take all 3 of these games, you put a unit on each of them, or whatever it equates to, 1.2 units to win a unit, depending on the game you're playing. So, for example, if you take the Cubs game, you bet the Cubs on the money line, so it's -115. You got to bet $11.50 to win $10. You can bet $110.50 to win $100, depending on what your unit size is, right? So if you bet all 3 of these games, you go 2-1, you make a profit. So that's the goal today. Let's see what we can do here. And those are the picks. So again, we're going Blue Jays money line, Diamondbacks money line, and then the Cubbies on the money line as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the picks. Smash the subscribe button. It's not rocket science. It's never been rocket science. And we will be back on Friday for another episode of Ride the Line, guys. Check out WSN.com. All the links in the description below for all your content, all your needs. We're posting picks every day. We're writing articles. I got a Nerfy article on the site right now. Check us out on social at WSN Sports on pretty much every platform, TikTok as well. We're growing over there. So appreciate all the support, guys, and we will see you on Friday for another episode of Ride the Line.